There was a few people that saw the monkey getting eaten by the alligator. It wasn't just me. But a few days later, someone had posted that video, and it got 1.5 million views. So I was like, oh man, now I have to post my videos.
Two dads on a mission, chasing magic through the parks. From rope drop to the fireworks, lighting up the dark. Yeah, we're the wildest dads in the wilderness on the ultimate ride. Buckle up, the adventure starts tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in to the wildest dads in the wilderness. We're two dads. I'm Caleb, this is Landon. And usually we talk about theme parks, which we are going to do some of that tonight, but we're going to go a little bit, we're going to stay in Florida, but we're going to branch a little bit out into the Florida wilderness. So we've got Mr. Casey Barrick on with us, who is, like I said, we're going to talk some Disney. We met on the college program and a current Disney cast member, but you've also got a lot of other cool stuff going on. And Casey, how you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Was that intro? Was it AI?
No, that's Caleb, man.
No.
Oh, really?
He plays the banjo. He plays the banjo, dude.
That's awesome. I love.
No, I'm kidding.
I was like, this has to.
That's
Wait.
not me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all AI.
It's AI.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I could kind of tell, but then I was like, I don't know.
Hey, Mike can sing. This
We
dude Mike
actually-
can
we
sing
get-
right here.
We get messages all the time asking. But
Oh, really?
Yeah, we do. But it's like a running bit almost.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks for spoiling it, but
Yeah.
it's over.
Is that AI? No, that's not, dude. But yeah,
I believed you whenever you said it was Caleb.
I should have just kept going.
I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know why I gave in too quick. But no, it's AI. Is what it is.
We may or may not have something to do with the lyrics, though. We might be some writers. We just can't sing.
Yeah, no, we came up with our own.
I'm a terrible singer.
So we all start a band.
If this doesn't work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you won't sell records, but you would probably get a lot of views if you had just like a terrible band.
Just got terrible.
Yeah. Let's do it out
That's
in
the thing
middle
about
of
social media. You have to find something that's different. Do something that like no one else has done. I'm not saying no one else has started a terrible band and like, would see if it would work, but I'm sure people would think it's funny.
You definitely have a better chance of going viral with that terrible band than a rock solid
Than
band.
a good band. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a decent band.
Maybe we're missing our calling here.
All right, well, I'm going to jump in. All right, Casey.
Let's do it.
So I don't know if you even remember. We met kind of on the college program. We talked about, I want to see if you remember where we met. Do you have any recollection? Because I've got one great. So we messaged back and forth for a little bit, and we actually talked about being roommates on the college program for a hot second. We did.
Okay.
But we figured out last minute that you were over 21 and I was under 21. So it wasn't going to work out.
No, I
And
started under 21.
Or were you turning 21?
No. I moved down whenever. Maybe I
you
lied
just
to
changed
you.
your mind and you lied to me.
Oh man,
That could also
Maybe
be.
I
is it
lied
getting
to you.
awkward in here?
But either way.
This dude's
No,
weird.
it's
I'm
not
over
getting awkward.
21, dude.
Because I do remember leaving for work one day, and I heard, "Hey!" And I turned around, and you were chasing my car.
What?
And you came up, and you beat on my window, and you go, "Hey, roll tide." And then you ran off.
The second half sounds correct, saying roll tide. I don't remember ever running up to your car and beating on your window, though.
That was the only time, really, we interacted.
Bro, you remember
During the-
running
there was
up
one
to
other
my
time-
car and hitting it and saying War Eagle?
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody entirely different. But there was another time I ran into you in a Walmart at like 2 a.m. or something, to my recollection.
Really?
Casey's over here like, dude,
Maybe
I mean,
it's
this was
entirely different.
our college program was 12 years ago, which is crazy to think about.
Uh-huh.
I tell people all the time, I wish I could go back to that 1 year, 2014 to 2015. That was the best year of my life.
Oh, it's
Now, y'all
fantastic.
started at the same time? Same year?
I guess so. I started June of 2014. I was 19 at the time.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I did as well.
So I must have
Not
lied to you,
21.
I guess.
You
Not
must have lied to me,
21.
and that's okay. It's been
Hey.
12 years.
Is what
That's
it is.
funny.
No hard feelings
I
anymore.
also could just be crisscrossing people. It's entirely
Yeah.
possible. I wouldn't be beyond it.
Yeah. I ended up with great roommates, so I don't regret lying to you if that was what happened.
You know what? I was actually thinking that earlier. We've had my old roommate on the podcast a few times, so
Yeah.
it all works out.
Yeah, 3 of mine were just groomsmen, and my wedding last year. So it's crazy. 12 years ago, we met by just like random chance on the Disney College program, and then we're still friends today, and they were my groomsmen a few months ago. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what we had an episode where we were talking about, that's kind of, I was never in like a fraternity or anything, but like that's kind of my version of, the college program is a ton of people that we had that common bond, and we're still in touch to this day. And
yeah, that's sort of what it felt like. I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Dude,
experience.
that's something kind of like looking back, kind of one of the regrets. Like I never played high school football. That's a big regret, and like not, sticking the toes in the college program, which I wasn't a Disney guy at the time. But I like hearing the stories and hearing all y'all talk about it. I'm like, dude, that'd have been a cool way to spend a year or two. Just
it was the
I tried
best.
to talk y'all into it. Nobody would
You
go
can-
with me.
You can still do it. Just sign up for a class, and you could still apply as long as you're enrolled in a college. It doesn't matter. Yeah, they don't care how old you are.
I remember there being a couple.
workers.
There were a couple like 40-year-olds in our. I remember we had like the kickoff little pool parties and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
They're
no,
just
you
hanging
can
out
go for it.
with the.
Where did you work on your college program?
I worked on Dumbo and Barnstormer.
Okay.
Yeah, where were you at?
I was food and beverage at the Art of Animation Resort. It's so random.
Okay.
But I loved it because we were voted the best quick service food across property. So there was no paper plates, there was no paper forks. Everything was like actual silverware and plates. The food was incredible. And my second program, I was a lifeguard at Typhoon Lagoon, which I
That's
absolutely
awesome.
hated.
Yeah, that sounds chaotic.
It wasn't so much with the guests. It was they had this thing called, or I guess they still do. It's called a VAT, V-A-T, a visual awareness test, and it was an actual mat, and it was a silhouette of like a kid laying down, and our managers would dress up like a tourist, pretty much. I'm talking shirt off, hat, sunglasses, and they would lay these VATs down in the pools and see if you could see it within like 20 seconds, and if not, you got in trouble. And it happened to me twice. They audited me twice, and I got it both times. But on a day-to-day basis, I was more worried about my managers dressing up as a tourist. But they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it so you stay alert and you're watching the water. But my last day, that was my last role on the college program. And on my last day, I was like, oh my gosh, thank God. I did not I was comfortable in the water. I didn't mind saving somebody if I had to. I never had to, but I was okay with that. I was not okay with being audited at random times as a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
I
can
had
see that.
two of my 3 roommates were lifeguards. And I remember listening to them just complain nonstop about that. And but it was funny. So like that was back when the parks were open till 3 a.m. So I'd be rolling in at 4:30 in the morning, and they'd be getting up to leave at 5. So we'd just kind of like high five on
Hey, how's it
crossing
going?
each other through the living room. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that was another wild thing about the college program. You'd have 8 people in a room, and your schedules are just nuts. You're all over the place. You may not ever see half of them.
Yeah, we had one guy that was parking, one guy that was photo pass at Animal Kingdom, so he had to be up at like 5 in the morning, be there by 5:30. Park opens at 6 or whatever it was at the time. And then I'm rolling in at like 9 a.m. We had there was a character performer, so his shift was all over the place. His shift times. Yeah, the whole apartment was just chaotic. But I was at the Commons, so we had 6 roommates. So, there was a lot of us in one complex.
Dude, maybe I'm mixing you up with somebody else. Because whoever knocked on my car window and said "Roll Tide," which I could have, for 12 years I thought was you, just because we follow each other on Instagram. It was at Vista. It was not at. I was at Vista. I wasn't at.
I lived at Vista on my first college program.
Okay, no, we're back to it then. It was you.
Yeah.
Maybe it was you. Yeah. What you
Yeah,
get this car
Vista-
for, dude?
Wild.
Vista Way whenever I was food and beverage at Art of Animation, and then I was at the Commons whenever I was a lifeguard at Typhoon
Gotcha.
Lagoon. Yeah.
Okay. The
How long
Commons,
is
that
college
the
program?
one?
Is that?
I get the other ones mixed up. To be
How
honest.
How long?
Yeah, is it a 1-year program or 2, or is
It's
it kinda
pretty
year?
much. Mine was the longest, and it was 11 months. So
Okay.
it was from June to May of the following year, but give or take a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could do multiple programs. You could come back really every year. You could do it for 4 years
As
if
long
you
as you're
wanted
taking
to.
classes, you could keep showing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
That's what Kathleen did as well. My wife was also, that's where I met my wife in the college program. And she was on Mermaid and then extended and went into PhotoPass for her second go around down there. But
Did y'all meet at work, like actually in the park?
yeah. First
Okay.
time, yeah, that's where we met. So she was actually, yeah, she was at Mermaid, which, I mean, we were side by side, and one of my roommates was at Mermaid. So we kind of
Okay, cool.
met. I mean, so we'd see each other. They had a lot of Fantasyland, go through training and stuff together. So I'd see her at a few different trainings and stuff like that, and like we'd meet up for like Lost and Found at the end of the night and stuff like that.
Right.
But mostly through my roommate is kind of where we met,
Okay.
and then at a John Party concert at Cowboys. First time we hung out. So
I've been there once. Never
you know,
again.
that was the only time I went to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I
I've
banged on
never
your
been.
window. Yeah, don't go. Maybe that's where I banged on your window and said "Roll Tide."
That might have been. No, Landon came down there to visit me one time, and we went to House of Blues.
House
And,
of Blues, yeah.
Oh,
We were, yeah,
Some crazy music going on in there.
I don't
At,
know what was going on. Usually
at
we
Disney
went to
Springs.
yeah. Usually
Yeah.
we went to like the cast nights or whatever, and those were fun. But we went, and it was I don't know what was going on. The
like
vibe wasn't
some
right.
just
And
techno-
I took Landon and two other rednecks in wearing
Yeah.
boots and hats and all this in there, and they were just like, "This is off." Like they hated it, and they walked outside.
I remember
They'd
just
been
walking
drinking a
around
bit
like,
and found a cop and was like, "Look at us, where should we be?" And they were like, "Cowboys."
Cowboys.
And they've never
not
let
House
me
of
live it down.
Blues. Not
Oh,
House
yeah.
of
Funny.
Blues.
No, I messed that one up. So my bad.
That's funny.
I was actually watching one of the like YouTube vloggers going through the Rock and Roller Coaster. You know, they brought some
Yeah.
of them into the House of Blues a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I think that's that place that Caleb took us that night, House of Blues. It sounds so familiar. It kind of started to look familiar as I was watching some of those videos. I was like, it's got to be House of Blues. That's funny. You
Yeah.
brought that up.
It is funny.
But so you're still working at the park. So what are you up to now?
Full time, 6 days a week, a lot of work. I'm still in entertainment. I mostly do Fantasmic, so I do that about 3 or 4 nights a week, and then I'm at Epcot performing 2 nights a week or 2 days a week. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I
So is the
mostly do
6 days a
Fantasmic.
week kind of that's your set schedule, or are you trying to pick up a shift every week, or how's that working?
That's my
So
set
that's
schedule.
a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work plus the kayaking tours. I'm doing. I'm supposed to only be there 5 days. I'm supposed to work at Epcot 3 days, Hollywood Studios 2, but they have it flip flopped. I work at Hollywood Studios 3 days a week, Epcot 2 days a week, and then I'll get scheduled a 6-day, pretty much wherever they want me. And it could be at Chef Mickey's or wherever, but usually it's at Fantasmic, which I don't mind because it's such an easy shift. It's a fun show. It's an easy shift. I'm in late, so it's all overtime whenever I go. But yeah, I hardly ever work at Magic Kingdom, and I pretty much never work at Animal Kingdom.
So coming out of the college program, did you go straight into your full-time cast member, or did you take a little break away from Disney for a minute?
Yeah, I actually, funny story. I moved back home, and the week that I moved home, my aunt was like, "Hey, they're filming a Nicolas Cage movie here in Mobile. You should audition to be in it." And I was on such a high from being on the college program. Like, man, I could do anything. You know, I just had the best year of my life. So I sent in some pictures, and they just wanted like body shots and face shots. And I was 30 pounds lighter back then, but they wanted a military fit, and I fit whatever they were looking for extras. And yeah, I spent that whole summer as an extra on a Nicolas Cage movie. It's called USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage. The Rotten Tomatoes score is like 21%. It's terrible.
Dude,
It's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, but you see me in the movie, so it's like fun to watch every once in a while.
yeah, we're
It's
going to check it out.
it's an old war movie.
The
Yeah.
college program story, isn't it?
This was, dude, we started filming a month after our college program, and I had never been in a movie, but my uncle was in the old movie G.I. Jane back in I think it was the 90s. So I always thought it was cool that he was an extra in that movie. So, no, I did it. And I did that for the entire summer. And then I was like, man, I really want to go back and work at Disney. So I applied, I think to like merchandise or something. And I got denied. I failed the personality test. I think it's I forgot what they called it, but it was pretty much a personality test. And I was like, what the heck? I just spent a year working at Disney and I failed the personality test, whatever
Like
it
that
was.
little automated test.
It's the little automated test. And
Yeah.
it said, hey, please reapply in 6 months. And I was like, oh man, I really want to go back to Disney. So I actually applied to SeaWorld and got hired at SeaWorld. And then I was just talking to a friend, actually my roommate on the college program. And he said, why don't you just go to an audition? Just, go to one and see what they have. And I had never auditioned for anything in my life. I was not a theater kid. I was not a music kid, nothing. And they had a Star Wars audition coming up. So I auditioned, first time ever, and they hired me 2 weeks later full time. So I've been there ever since. That was in 2015. So I just hit 10 years performing back in October. And it's funny because I work with all of these performers, all of these theater kids. I know a girl that went to like 30 something auditions. And I'm just like, I mean, I grew up on sports and the outdoors. And I just went to one audition and they hired me. And they didn't make me dance in my audition. That was the thing. I can dance if I'm like at a wedding or something or at a party. But when you give me choreographed dance instructions, it's going to take me like a week to learn it. But at our audition, they had us do different stuff because it was a bunch of tall guys that probably didn't know how to dance. We were there for, the taller Star Wars characters. And, they ended up hiring me and been here 10 years. It's crazy.
Judging by the last 5 minutes of our conversation, I think you need to move out west and try the whole acting gig, dude.
No, not an actor.
You might have something that you don't know about.
Not an actor. That's what my dad always told me. He always said, hey, you never know who's going to be walking around the park from Lucasfilm. Just always do your best and do your thing as a performer, and you never know what could happen. But no, I'm not an actor. No.
You always been a Disney guy? Like, is it just you went to the college program, realized it's a great place to work?
Yeah, I came here 2 or 3 times whenever I was a kid, and I really wanted to work with the animals. So I was actually working at a zoo in college, a zoo in Alabama, and an aquarium working with dolphins in Mississippi. And I was asking these zookeepers, what kind of internships they did, because I wanted to go work at a bigger zoo, maybe like San Diego Zoo or something like that. And over a few weeks, they were telling me what they did, but one lady in particular was like, well, it has nothing to do with animals, but I worked at Disney. It's called the college program. And that's how I found out about the college program. I was like, wow, what is that? So I applied and I got accepted into the food and beverage role. So, yeah, I came here as a kid, but it wasn't more than a few times.
Yeah, passion didn't drive your application for the college program.
No, it was me literally thinking, oh, my gosh, I had so much fun as a kid. Now I could maybe work there. That'd be a cool place to hang out. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, so it's only 7.5 hours away to Orlando. So, a lot of people are coming from like New York City, Washington. They can't just drive home. So this was a really, really close place for me to be. So yeah, I applied and I got accepted.
That's really cool. Now let me. I've heard different experiences from people who you said it was just a Star Wars audition. What was the like? So I went to a college program audition, and it was like 450 people, and we were there for like 8 hours, and it was the most grueling thing, like acting wise, you could imagine. Like, was it like you're there all day, or was it like, hey, we're looking for this, this, and this, and
no, this was maybe an hour long, if that. Yeah. So a normal audition, they want you to learn a dance routine, and then they want you to do an animation segment, meaning, okay, you're a toy in a toy store, try to break out, or something like that, and they'll give you a minute to do it. I was real nervous about the dancing part in my audition because I was like, oh my gosh, it takes me so long to learn choreography, and not just that, but to do it in front of everybody, all 80 other people that were at this audition, just guys watching you do it. No, they said, we're not going to do the dancing portion, but we're going to do the animation portion. And they said, you're going to be a zookeeper training an animal, and then 30 seconds later, you're going to turn into that animal that you were just training, which is funny because I just got done working at a zoo the year prior. So I was like, oh man, this is perfect. So I acted like I was training a dolphin and was throwing it fish, and I was telling it to do stuff, but it wasn't getting it right. It was messing up, and I was, hitting my head or whatever. And then it came back, and then I had to switch into the dolphin. And then for the dancing portion, they were like, we're not going to dance. And they said, we can't tell you who just yet, but we're going to teach you how to walk like somebody from Star Wars. And he's really tall, and he's scary, and he has a black cape. So that's all they told us. So we knew it was, they were talking about Darth Vader. They just couldn't say. Right. And that's what we did. And it was just, I don't know, like a 15-second walk. We flipped in an imaginary cape and walked around the room, and that was it.
Now, why couldn't they say? Am I missing something?
So it was for the Star Wars launch bay at Hollywood Studios. I don't know if you've been there. It was over near the Little Mermaid show at Hollywood Studios. It was called Star Wars Launch Bay. It wasn't open yet. I don't even know if it was released to the public that was going to be a thing at the time.
So they'd be giving away that information by saying the word Darth Vader, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they told us. They just didn't say his name.
Right.
Yeah,
everybody knew who they were talking about.
He can flip a cape and be a dolphin. Like, you're
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to see that you're,
sign the dotted line right here, sir.
Yeah, they literally gave us papers, and it was like, are you available full time? Are you, can you do this? Can you do that? But yeah, that's how it started. And excuse me, I learned Fantasmic basically a year later after getting hired, and I've been there ever since, pre-COVID and now. So I reopened the show and closed the final show.
What a weird time, huh? The whole COVID, trying to manage that through Disney. I knew nothing about Disney at the time, but just going back and reading, some forums and stuff like that, and hearing people that were involved talk about it, it's kind of crazy that they managed it the way they did.
Yeah, I mean, they said we'll be back in 2 weeks. And so I went home for 2 weeks to Mobile, and then right at the 2-week mark, I was like, all right, I'm going to go back home to Orlando. That's what I told my mom and dad. And obviously, Disney didn't open in 2 weeks. It was months later, but I was put on furlough. I was getting paid like $600 a week from Disney. From Disney. So, yeah, to not even show up. I always say I really miss COVID. I wish we could go back to another COVID.
Worst things you could be doing. I do remember watching one of the Beauty and the Beast shows, but when they were still like socially distanced. So they were doing all the same stuff, but they wouldn't get near each other, and
it's awkward.
A different experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the so how did you get, you wanted to work with animals and stuff like that. So where did you make the jump into your company's Visibility Forever? Am I getting that right? Where did you make that jump?
Well, when I moved down on my college program, I actually Googled things to do in Orlando because I knew I wanted to do more things outside of the theme parks. I still went to the theme parks pretty much every week with my roommates, but I wanted to do other things other than the theme park. So I went to the Florida Springs, which, if you don't know, they're just pretty much holes in the ground where water is bubbling from underneath. Have you ever been to one here in Florida, in Central Florida?
No,
Spring?
I haven't. I've always wanted to, and man, in your videos we've been watching them and talking about them.
Yeah,
it looks.
Anytime you're down, let me know, and I'll take you. Not even where I do my tours. Yeah, we can go wherever.
I didn't know there were monkeys in Florida. To be honest with you,
we can get into that. Yeah, those are pretty much invasive, non-native monkeys. But no, I went to a spring, and The first one I went to was called Blue Springs, and I was like, oh my gosh, we don't have this in Alabama. This is amazing. There are some springs in Alabama, but Florida has over 1,000 of them. And anyways, I just thought they were super beautiful. It's crystal clear turquoise water that bubbles from underground. It's pretty much old rainwater, trapped rainwater underneath Florida's limestone. And it's trapped rainwater that travels all throughout the state in underground rivers and tunnels that we call the Floridan Aquifer. And then once they find an exit point, that's how a spring is created. It's just water coming from underground. And so I just thought they were beautiful. And I was at work one day, and I had a friend that actually at Fantasmic, he said, hey man, I see all of your all of your posts, and this water, it's crystal clear. I've really never seen clear water before. I said, oh, I'll take you. So me, him, and my wife, we went to a spring. I brought a paddleboard for him, and we explored, and he had the best time. We saw otters, and it was crystal clear, not a lot of people out. And the next day or two, I thought, why am I not doing this as like a side gig? Not for friends, but for tourists, because a lot of tourists visit the springs. And so my original idea was to do paddleboards, because I'm a paddleboarder at heart. I love paddleboarding. But I ended up going the clear kayaking route, because I saw a few other companies doing it. And more people can kayak than they can paddleboard. One of my first customers was my 87-year-old great aunt. So she would have never been able to go if I only had paddleboards. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she went out
Much
on a
more
kayak.
tourist friendly.
Yeah. But I do tours at Silver Springs, which is about an hour and a half drive from Orlando, and it's pretty much the biggest spring in Florida. But yeah, we see manatees in the wintertime. We see monkeys year round. Not every trip, but it's hit or miss. And I don't know if you saw the video of the alligator eating the monkey.
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, I immediately sent that to Landon. You posted that and a copperhead in the same day. And
yeah, cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth, yeah.
Yeah.
And I called Landon and I was like, I'm so excited for this episode.
Yeah. I mean, Florida's really wild, and you might not see it because most people only see beaches and theme parks. But once you get outside of that, I mean, the springs and the woods and the rivers, there's something else. But yeah, the monkeys were brought over. This is the story that I know. There's a few different stories. But these monkeys were brought over in the 1930s by a river captain, some boat captain along the river, and he put them on an island that we call Monkey Island in the middle of the river. And he got rhesus macaques from Southeast Asia. But he checked on them the next morning. He bought like 8 or 9 of them. But he checked on them the next morning and they were gone. They had swam over to the mainland and they've spread all throughout Central Florida. And there's probably over 1,000 of them in Central Florida, and they get into people's deer feeders and in their backyards. And they also have herpes. Some of them do. So I don't know how you want to explain to your family that you got herpes from a monkey. So that's why we try to stay far away from them. But yeah, that alligator, I was actually looking at another snake, not the snake that I posted that day on my story. I was looking at another snake in a tree, and this guy on a kayak came by and he said, "Hey man, there's an alligator eating a monkey over there." And I was like, "No way." So I paddled over there and I posted it on my story, and that was just going to be the end of it. But my friend, Mike Winkles, he said, "Hey man, I really think you should post that video because I think it'll go viral." And I was like, "Nah, I don't think I will, but maybe." And a few days later, there was a few people that saw the monkey getting eaten by the alligator. It wasn't just me. There was a few people around. But a few days later, someone had posted that video and it got 1.5 million views. So I was like, oh man, now I have to post my video. So I posted it and it got like 300,000 views in 12 hours or something. And then it slowed down, but
we've been posting the wrong content.
Yeah. No, we're
Pretty
posting the
crazy.
right content. No, I'm not getting involved with the alligators. I was going to ask you, dude. So did you grew up outdoorsman? I guess that you're not scared of nature. You're not scared of gators. Like this, that's different for us. You know, we don't have a species like that in the woods behind our house, like an alligator. So
yeah, And I totally get that. You know, most people don't grow up around alligators, and I also scuba dive with sharks out in the ocean, and most people are deathly afraid of sharks. They want nothing to do with them. But if you put a scuba tank on and a regulator and you went out into the middle of the ocean with sharks, you would see that sharks, they want nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? It's the same with alligators. Alligators to me are a little bit more scary than sharks, but I had an uncle that did alligator swamp tours in a big boat whenever I was a kid, and he would actually, I'm pretty sure it was illegal then. I don't know. Maybe it's illegal now. Maybe it was good then, but he would blow.
Maybe it wasn't really your uncle.
Technically, it's funny you said that. Funny you said that. This is my dad's best friend, so we just called him Uncle Tony, but he's not like my biological uncle. But no, we would go out into the swamp and he would blow an air horn, and he had all of the alligators kind of trained in the area, and they would come up to the surface and surround the boat, and then we would feed them jumbo marshmallows, big marshmallows from, just like that you would cook over a campfire. And that's how I fell in love with alligators. With that being said, though, I don't really want to swim with one. I have swam with one in clear water at a spring. It's no big deal. They see you, you see them. They want nothing to do with you. These aren't like 14-foot monsters. They're like 5 feet, most of them. But I also do fossil hunting. And for fossil hunting, you got to go into some pretty dark rivers, some murky rivers. And I've bumped into one alligator. I came up on its stomach and its back leg. And that was really scary. And I just slowly backed out. We were in like 10 feet of water. It wasn't super deep. But yeah, that was crazy. That was in South Florida. And
no chance. There's no chance.
Yeah, immediately after it happened, though, I was so thankful that it happened because I knew that the day would come at some point that I was going to bump into an alligator underwater in murky water. And it happened on that day, so it was almost like a sigh of relief. Like it finally happened. I got it over with.
Done that now, yeah.
Yeah, I ripped the Band-Aid off, and now I kind of know what to expect, yeah.
So what is your YouTube series right now, you're trying to get to all 500 or 500 springs. I don't know how many there are.
Yeah, over 1,000.
How does that work with you're working at Disney and you got to get all around Florida? Like,
it's terrible.
You told it's terrible. Like you told us earlier, your sleep schedule sucks. Like you're just
dude. Me
grinding.
being at the spring is the easiest part about it. Me paddling around alligators is the easiest part about it. The hard part is planning, and Florida's in a drought right now. It hasn't rained here. It rains like once a month or something in Orlando. It's really terrible. So the springs get recharged by rainfall. So the more it rains, the more they're pretty much going to be pumping out a ton of water. And some of them are dried up. If you look at the Santa Fe and the Suwannee River in North Florida, there's sections where you can walk all the way across the river on limestone because there's no water flowing, and there's 300 something springs that feed those rivers. So my point is, I can't go to those right now because, the drought. So I have to think about the drought. I have to think about crowds. I have to think about my full-time work schedule. I have to think about my kayaking schedule. If someone has a tour booked, I have to think about wildlife. The manatees migrate to the springs in the wintertime. So some springs I don't want to go to in the summertime because I'd like to see a manatee. It might make for a better clip or a better video. So the planning is by far the hardest part. Also having to map these springs out. It's not like I just park in a parking lot and walk 10 feet down a sidewalk and then there's a spring. Some of these I'm having to hike for miles and miles. I've paddled, I don't know, probably over 100 miles at this point. And I'm currently at 91 springs. But yeah, it started because I was at like 75 springs. I had a list on my phone, and I just randomly thought, gosh, I want to make it to 100. Let's go to 100, just 25 more. And then maybe 5 seconds later, I was like, what if I just went to 500 springs? And this was a couple of years ago that I had that idea. And I don't think I'm the first one. I'm not trying to be the first one to go to 500 springs, but I haven't seen too many people go to this many springs and document them in the way that I'm doing. So I just thought, if I'm going to do it, I might as well film it, because no one's going to believe me really. And it'd be cool to look back on, this is something my kids can watch or whatever. And so I started going. I just started planning. I do have an advantage though, because I'm a scuba diver and a free diver, paddleboarder. I have all of these underwater cameras. I have drones. So it was kind of like I was already set up to go. I didn't have to buy anything. So I just went out into the wilderness with my cameras and started filming. And I'm at spring number 91. It's been a little over a year now. And I just recently started posting them on Instagram. I started chopping them up and slicing them up into just reels. I just figured I could do that. And Instagram is actually working better than YouTube. YouTube, I'm posting the whole video. They're anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes long. But Instagram, I'm just doing the short reels. And
that's where I first saw it on Instagram, and then I've started watching the longer form YouTube ones. And it kind of, you may have, you're a Bama guy. You may have seen you ever watched the Discovering Alabama show?
I don't think so.
It's like an Emmy winning. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It reminds me. A more modern day. Yours is more modern day. Well done, but it's like just a very chill. Learning about Alabama. It was this guy that used to, I think it'd come on like PBS or something, and you can still find it somewhere. I've showed it to my kids, but he'd go to like Native American mountain sites, or he'd go out to
old towns,
Little River Canyon.
Right.
But it was a lot of it was wildlife type of stuff, and it kind of gives that vibe to me of like Saturday morning we'll make my coffee and we've got this chill, like I'm gonna learn something and see something cool, and I love it.
Yeah, I've been so lucky with the springs that I've gone to. Some of these I had already been to before, so I'm revisiting. I went to 5 years ago or something, so I'm refilming it. But just the amount of wildlife that I've seen while there. I had the manatee hug my leg.
That's awesome. That was great.
That's never happened before, and it just happened. I've dove with plenty of manatees, and then this one manatee hugged my leg on the day that I was filming. I'm seeing all kinds of alligators, and I'm falling in the water, and the weather is like pretty much perfect. And I wanted to show the struggles too. It's obviously not glamorous being out there. I'm going down to my knees in mud. I'm falling off of the paddleboard. I'm getting lost. Sometimes I don't have signal on my phone, and I can't use my map to find where I have the springs mapped out. But that was one of my rules whenever I started was I don't want to show just the good stuff, the pretty springs that everybody sees on Google. I want to show, what it actually takes to get out there without faking it too. So there was a spring that we went to. I could have easily driven to it and parked my car and just paid the fee and walked right up to it. Or you can paddle like 9 miles to get to it from another spring. So I just thought, why would I just drive my car? Let's make a day out of it and make an adventure video. So we paddled the 9 miles just to get to the other spring. And that was the whole thing. But me and my wife did that. And it was amazing. We saw like 45 alligators in one day, and fell off my paddleboard for the first time. I've been paddleboarding for 15 years. And on that day, surrounded by all of those alligators, I hit a stump and I fell in the water. And so just like little stuff like that, I don't want to sugarcoat anything, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
No, sir. That comes through. There was one where you lost your action cam. I remember watching that one.
That was episode 1.
It was like the first one, yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah, that was a that day too. Cause I don't know where my paddleboard's at.
Dude. Yeah. So these were springs
we're series regulars. If you can't
these
tell.
were springs that I had never been to. I guess you watched that full episode, or maybe it was the Instagram reel. But I did 6 springs in that first video, and all in one day. And I wanted to start out at a spring that I had never been to, because I wanted to do something a little bit more adventurous. But I fossil hunt on that river, so I thought, okay, I could go explore these springs, and then I could fossil hunt at the end of the video. I find shark teeth and different ice age bones and stuff like that. That was another thing. I wanted to add more elements to the videos, not just walking to a spring and showing it. I want to camp. I want to cook food over the campfire. I want to paddleboard. I want to hike, do all of these things. But yeah, I went to those springs. By far the hardest spring. I picked a terrible first location to go to starting out. It was the worst 4 springs that I had ever been to in my life, trying to get to them. The last 2 in that video were easy, but yeah, the 4th spring, I just hiked through the swamp for maybe 45 minutes, and I'm finally back out to almost at the creek, and I don't have my Insta360 camera on me, and I'm like, oh man, how am I going to find this? This was a birthday gift from my wife, and it's by far the coolest camera I own, the 360 camera. I don't know if you know anything about them or have one, but it's such a cool camera. So yeah, just stuff like that. I hiked back, and it was almost sunset at that point, and somehow I found it. I just tried to retrace my steps, but I didn't take a trail to get to that spring. There's no trail that leads out there. You're just in the middle of the swamp in the woods. And I have a really I don't want to say redneck friend, but a friend that's down to get dirty and do whatever it takes. And I was about to have him on the phone being like, dude, I need your help. We got to look for this $600 camera out here right now tonight. And what's funny is I knew he would have been like, yeah, man, I'm on my way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, talking about these springs, I'm sure they're your big hit. Everybody wants to see the pretty water, and when you kind of you video yourself getting to the spring, and that's an adventure of itself. And then when you kind of hit that Nat Geo vibe, but when you go underwater and you've always got certain music playing, I'm sure that's a big hit. But like you said, the fossil diving and looking for the shark teeth in that river in that first episode of the springs, that got my attention. I thought that was super cool, man. And that's kind of had me antsy more than just the adventure of the spring itself.
Yeah, because
the whole fossil.
At the end of the day, the springs, I mean, they kind of all look the same. Some of them look pretty different. Some are the size of a basketball, and some are the size of a Dollar General. The cave. But yeah, the fossil hunting, I'm definitely going to do more of those and some videos. That's why I did it on that river particularly. But a lot of the springs, you can find fossils in there, but since the water is crystal clear, everybody else has probably already found what's laying on the bottom. There's fossils all along the bottom because not too many people are out there snorkeling looking for fossils. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, during the Ice Age, Florida obviously wasn't covered in ice like the upper half of the United States. So a lot of animals flocked here and fled here to the southeast, Alabama as well. And yeah, to find fossils, you pretty much just need to take a shovel and dig deep enough, and you'll eventually find shark teeth and mammoth bones and mammoth teeth. But a river naturally cuts through the Earth's surface and acts like a shovel for you. So you can just dive in the bottom of rivers and look for exposed gravel, and you'll just find all kinds of fossils. So that's something that I've been doing for a few years now before I started the Springs journey. And that was just an element that I wanted to add into these videos, was fossil hunting, because not a lot of people see that.
Do you have a huge collection of fossils, or do you kind of...
I'm looking at an elephant tusk right now.
That you found?
Yeah. Well, it's really a Gomphothere tusk. I can go get it if you want me to. It's right over there. It's small.
Yeah, go get that thing.
You want me to go get it?
All right, yeah, once you go get it. Well, I Google whatever the word he just said was.
What's up, guys? Caleb here. And just like that, we're going to leave you with just a little bit of a cliffhanger. Mostly because Landon and I thought that would be a little bit funny to end it that way. But really, we had such a good time talking with Casey that we're going to turn this into a 2-part episode. So come back and join us for the next one if you want to see that elephant tusk. We're going to talk a lot more fossil hunting. We're going to talk some cave diving, some swimming with sharks, some snorkeling, a lot of awesome stuff. In the meantime, we've dropped the links to Casey's YouTube channel and how you can book a kayaking trip with him in the bio. And as always, give us a 5-star review, comment, subscribe, all the stuff. And thanks for joining us on the Wildest Dads in the Wilderness. See y'all.
We're the wildest dads in the wilderness. Get it